Austin Andrews here with your Beacon. Today we take a look at the transition to president. As we close the week, we recognize that the election is behind us, which means the work is just beginning. With President Trump's election including a sweep of the battleground swing states, he has been elected with a total of 312 electoral votes. The Senate is also projected to be in Republican control with at least 53 senators representing a 4-seat gain so far with 2 more races to be settled. The House of Representatives is still up in the air with an approximate 25 more races to be decided, but the expectation is that the Republican Party will maintain a slim majority. This presumed sweeping of the national elected government alongside the popular vote majority, the first time a Republican has held the popular vote majority since 2004, it all seems to spell out a mandate for Donald Trump's government. Scott Jennings, a CNN pundit and former Bush 43 White House PR guy, interpreted the mandate for Trump this way.
I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
With these results in mind, the transition into the White House becomes the central focus on Donald Trump's team. And with less than 75 days until the executive government comes under Trump's reign once again, the many different decisions, well, they all need to be made now. Key appointments are going to be announced over the next couple of weeks and months, but we know some of the people who have surrounded Trump in his latest campaign, and we've come to know them as somewhat of a unity government, aligning together to help solve specific crises developed under the Biden and Harris government. Some of these key characters are Elon Musk, who's a former Democrat. He's the owner of X, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and he's also been talking about being involved with government efficiency. When he bought Twitter, he ended up dismissing over 75% of the workforce, only to develop a better product and better service with far fewer people and expenses. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's also a former Democrat and attorney and advocate for health, wellness, and the environment, has stood with Donald Trump since he removed himself from contention. Now, Donald Trump's been clear that the Trump-Kennedy alignment is a focus on health and not the environment. Kennedy is expected to be given the ability to restructure agencies in the federal government that oversee big pharma, drugs, food, nutrition, and wellness sciences. We'll see what that actually looks like, whether it's a cabinet position or some sort of coalition that is addressing these things. But we expect Kennedy to play a strong component. Tulsi Gabbard is also involved in this unity government. She's a former Hawaiian Democrat congresswoman. She's also was a presidential nominee for the Democratic primaries in 2020, and she continued to this day as an active Hawaii National Guardsman. She was deployed as recently as a couple of Augusts ago when the Lahaina disasters took place. Gabbard is also someone who has been deployed into the Middle East as a part of her armed services career and was a part of 2 tours in a medical unit. Now, Gabbard has not been promised a specific cabinet position, but there are many that are struggling to see a cabinet without her name involved. Of course, Vivek Ramaswamy, who was a part of the Republican primaries, is a tech mogul and is well-spoken advocate of Trump when he stepped out of the race. Vivek could also find himself in a cabinet position or advisory role. Now, these are some of the more high-profile individuals who have come from outside of the government and coalesced around Trump in his most recent campaign, but there are many appointments to be made. As of Thursday afternoon, one of those important appointments was announced, and it was that of Susan Wiles, Trump's recent campaign manager, who he is tasking to be his chief of staff. She would serve as the first female chief of staff in the history of the United States of America. Trump released that news with this statement, quote, "Susie Wiles just helped me achieve one of the greatest political victories in American history and was an integral part of both my 2016 and 2020 successful campaigns. Susie is tough, smart, innovative, and is universally admired and respected. Susie will continue to work tirelessly to make America great again. It is a well-deserved honor to have Susie as the first ever female chief of staff in United States history. I have no doubt that she will make our country proud," end quote. Other names being bandied about for several positions include Senator Marco Rubio, Senator Tom Cotton, Mike Pompeo, Representative Thomas Massie, and others. Now, of these names, the most interesting to me is that of Thomas Massie. Massie is a representative from Kentucky. He has a strong sense of responsibility to help the country with its national debt, but Massie is also a farmer and inventor. The position being floated for him would be Secretary of Agriculture, which would be a perfect placement for him unless he was made the Secretary of Treasury. Really, the speculation could go on, but the reason I felt this report was necessary is that the vote that took place earlier this week was not for a career politician or for a status quo, but instead for a unity party that was just elected with a mandate to repair American liberty, the American economy, and the foreign relationships with the United States of America throughout the globe. Trump and Vance were elected to the seats of power, but they have been embraced a coalition of thought leaders and doers who can and will come alongside them to make change. It is highly possible for many things in our country to change for the better over the next several years. I recognize that some people's votes did not come out on the victorious side in the last election, but it is highly possible there is a lot to be hopeful for. I'm Austin Andrews, and I'll see you on the next report.